and welcome to Todd Rolls Dice, where it's time for a look at our first preview of what is potentially many for Warhammer 40k's newest army faction, newest army refresh. The Emperor's Children are about to be unleashed on the battlefield in a whole swathe of new models, with new rules and many new profiles. So let's jump into this one. I'm going to cover these individually this week because I'm away for chunks of it, so we might have to do a catch-up over the weekend. But as and when these drop, if I'm around and able to, we'll cover them. So let me know in the comments what you think. I have a feeling that these are going to be a very strong Chaos detachment. And by strong, I don't mean Votan strong, but not far off Votan strong. First thing that jumps out before we get into rules and the actual article itself, that picture has Space Wolves on it. Does that mean they're teasing some Space Wolf stuff? Maybe the next Loyalist Primarch is going to be Old Man Lehman Russ? But let's focus on the Chaos, alright? We're here for the good stuff today. Slaanesh blesses all. So how about we have a look at the Emperor's Children? So we're going to go through army rule and other things. It says that there are 6 detachments in here, and we're going to have a look at 2. 6 detachments is quite a lot. So the army rule, Thrill Seekers, which plays off their unnatural agility, letting the Sons of Fulgrim flit between combats, so long as enticing new morsels present themselves. I just love the egotistical prick side of this army, by the sounds of it. Everything I've heard, they just sound like utter tossers who have such a huge ego. I just love the idea of these. Anyway, Thrill Seekers. If your army faction is Emperor's Children, this unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it also advanced or fell back. When doing so, 1. It cannot target a unit that was within engagement range at the start of the turn. 2. Cannot target a unit that was the target of another unit's charge or attack this phase. That just seems genuinely useful. His focus on agility is not really a focus on agility. I suppose charging is. Eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced or fell back. That's really strong, actually. That's advance and charge for the entire army is really nice. Focus on agility and graceful movement sets the Emperor's Children apart from other Chaos factions, and plenty of ways to flow around the battlefield, maximizing damage. Each of the 6 detachments then indulges in one of their chosen aspects of war. Making brazen boasts and ill-advised wagers is very on brand as they seek to prove themselves even better in the eyes of their patron. The absolute worst of these soul gamblers form a coterie of the conceited, staking their own lives on grand moments of slaughter that may or may not attract the attention of the Dark Prince. Fail to meet your pledge and your warlord will be punished. But powerful aspects start to kick in once the tally of pact points begins to grow, turning even the most basic of infractors into a close combat monster. So detachment rule for coterie of the conceited pledges to the Dark Prince. At the start of the battle round, if your warlord is on the battlefield, you must pledge a number to Slaanesh, representing how many enemy units will be destroyed this battle round. Egotistical as fuck. At the end of the battle round, if the number of units destroyed this battle round is greater than or equal to your pledge, you gain a number of pact points equal to your pledge. Otherwise, you do not gain any pact points this battle round and your warlord suffers D3 mortal wounds. Emperor's Children units from your army gain a bonus depending on how many pact points you have gained during the battle. So these are all cumulative, so 1 or more each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a hit roll of 1. Okay. 3 or more each time a model in this unit makes an attack, reroll a wound roll of 1. Both very nice. 5 or more melee weapons equipped by models in this unit have the lethal hits and sustained hits 1 abilities. Okay, nice. And 7 or more each time a model in this unit makes an attack, a critical hit is scored on a modified hit of 5+. So lethal 5-up. They're quite nice, aren't they? Characters can soup themselves up even further with enhancements such as a pledge of eternal servitude for a second chance at life. Is even less likely to happen when an allied unit has the Embrace the Pain stratagem, to redirect the attacker's ire onto them, although it's less to protect your leaders and more to hog all of the sensations. So enhancement, Pledge of Eternal Servitude, Emperor's Children model only. The first time the bearer is destroyed, take a leadership test for the bearer at the end of the phase. If that test is passed, set the bearer back up on the battlefield as close as possible to where it was destroyed, and not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, with D6 wounds remaining up to its wounds characteristic. But they'll be what, leadership 6, so probably a 50-50 chance to bring your warlord or bring a character back with D6 wounds. It is every phase though, so if they're killed in shooting but there's a unit close enough who's ready to charge, they could still charge into it. That's quite nice. And Embrace the Pain is a stratagem, 1 CP. When start the fight phase, target 1 Emperor's Children infantry unit from your army. Effect, until the end of the phase, each time an enemy model within engagement range of your unit selects a target, it must select your unit as the target of its attacks. So it's like a pseudo bodyguard, I guess. Okay, yeah, interesting way of keeping people alive. The Emperor's Children wouldn't be a Chaos faction without some unhealthy rivalries competing for their god's favour. And Slaaneish's Chosen are all about the grind for the Dark Prince's approval. Infernal rivalries mark your warlord as the top dog from the start of the game. All of your other characters are eagerly waiting to steal their thunder and claim the valuable wound rerolls for themselves. So detachment rule of Slaaneish's Chosen, internal rivalries. Emperor's Children character units from your army can ignore any or all modifiers to their move characteristic and any or all modifiers to advance and charge rolls made for them. At the start of the battle, your warlord's unit is your army's favoured champions. The first time in each player's turn that an Emperor's Children unit from your army destroys an enemy unit, after resolving all of its attacks, that character unit becomes your army's new favoured champions, replacing the old one. Each time a model in your army's favoured champions unit makes an attack, you can reroll the wound roll. Straight reroll wounds, that brings in a little bit of tactics, also a little bit of luck, but positioning as well. I like that. There's a lot of strategy that can be employed behind that rule. And it's not I wouldn't say that's overly strong. Rerolling wounds is nice, but it's only on one unit? Yeah, that's nice. Should these champions be struck down, they're even more likely to make their demise a beautiful death for Slaaneish's pleasure, lashing out with one last deadly strike. Others may look upon their favour with heightened jealousy, fighting even harder to attract their patron's gaze before one of their more opportunistic compeers snatches glory away. So this is 2 stratagems, both 1 CP, beautiful death. When fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets, target 1 Emperor's Children character unit from your army that was selected as the attack of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Effect, until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit is destroyed, if that model has not fought this phase, roll 1d6, adding 1 to the result if your unit is your army's favoured champion. On a 4-up, do not remove the destroyed model from play. It can fight after the attacking unit has finished making its attacks, and is then removed from play. We saw quite a lot of this in the Grotmas Detachments. It's a fairly standard stratagem. For your favoured champions, Fight on Death 3-up is probably quite nice. And Heightened Jealousy, again 1 CP. When your shooting phase or the fight phase just after an Emperor's Children character unit becomes your army's favoured champions, or just after your army's favoured champions unit destroys an enemy model, target your army's favoured champions unit. Effect, until the end of the phase, each time a model in an Emperor's Champion character unit from your army that is not your army's favoured champions makes an attack, add 1 to the strength characteristic of that attack. So you probably do want your favoured champions buff moving around units then, because there's probably going to be play of stealing it from each other or trying to get it back when you lose it. Okay. They seem a little bit more bookkeepy than the coterie of the conceited, because of all of the internal rivalries and things going on and remembering who has what buffs. But I can see it working. I think from this preview I can see it. Members of a mercurial host surrender to their whims and dart around the battlefield, putting their warp-fueled speed to good use, covering ground and dodging attacks. The advance rerolls their detachment rule Quicksilver Grace grants seems deceptively humble, but they make the Emperor's Children some of the most reliable assault troops in the game, so they're always going to be getting into combat by the sounds of it. Rerolling advanced rules is quite nice as a detachment rule. The Rapid Evisceration detachment trades leg power for horsepower, bundling its troops into a selection of powerful transport vehicles while empowering those who disembark with the detachment rule Mechanized Murder. Its stratagems similarly want you to use a vast motor pool of transports, allowing them to slip into strategic reserves, disembark troops right into the melee, and more. Sounds interesting. Emperor's Children are famed duelists, and the Peerless Bladesman rule puts them front and centre. Charging units show off their exquisite swordsmanship, while enhancements and stratagems are laser focused on close combat, including a particularly tasty option that can let your best character fight twice in a fight phase. Okay, that sounds interesting. I'm liking the last two. The motor pool one, Rapid Evisceration and Mechanized Murder, sound interesting. And the Peerless Bladesman sounds... I mean, this is all sounding pretty good in all honesty. That's what this piece is meant to do, it's meant to hype you up. But still, this is sounding pretty good. Seneshi forces that enlist the aid of demonic foes whip up a carnival of excess, bringing screeching demonettes and superfluous keepers of secrets into the material world to fight alongside mortal warriors. So this is your mixed demon and space marine detachment that all of the chosen god armies will be getting with their new codexes, which will be coming out hot on the heels of these, I believe. So look out for a future article about how demonic allies for the Emperor's Children work, and that'll give us an idea of how they'll work with Khorne, Nurgle, and Tzeentch as well. There's plenty more to cover from Codex Emperor's Children, so pay rapt attention to the Warhammer community for more. As I say, we'll be covering those as and when we can. So Army Rule Thrill Seekers generally just sounds quite nice, being able to... there's a few stipulations, but being able to shoot and charge even if you've advanced or fallen back is just generally quite strong. And the two detachment rules that we've seen in full sound pretty good. I mean, Coterie of the Conceited sounds very strong, giving you those buffs, but then you have to be slaying enemy units as well, so I like that risk and reward, and just the idea of, I'm going to kill 3 of your units this turn, so that's going to give me 5 packed points, and then next turn I'm going to have lethal hits and sustained hits on melee, as well as the other buffs I've already got. Pretty strong. It's pretty nice. And the Internal Rivalries one, I think I need to see the full thing and the stratagems to get an idea of how that actually works. But from the preview, it sounds interesting. I mean, any character unit that isn't your favoured champions, adding +1 to the strength of an attack is very nice. Yeah, really nice. Sounds exciting, and it's just making me want the box that I absolutely don't need. I really don't need it. It's making me want it even more. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.